Welcome to Chicago. According to the most recent census data, a little over 1/5 of the city's population is foreign-born. But if you look back at the city's history, that's pretty low. In 1870, Chicago had an immigrant population of 48%, a larger proportion of the city's population than anywhere else on the continent. And early waves of European immigration to Chicago paved the way for later migrations to the city. So, where did this all start? To answer that, we have to go back to the year 1673, when French explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet tried to get to Lake Michigan via the Mississippi River. Native Americans showed them a way across, by going up the Illinois and Des Plaines rivers, across a stretch of land called the Chicago Portage, into the Chicago River, which would take them to Lake Michigan. On that trip, Joliet had an idea, to build a canal on that stretch of land to connect the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River.
And they immediately recognized that what they were crossing was a watershed, and that if you could punch a canal through there from the South Branch of the Chicago River to the Des Plaines River, you'd have a joining of all those waterways and a potentially valuable commercial site.
The idea wasn't put into action for about a century and a half, until Illinois politician Samuel D. Lockwood was authorized to hire contractors to survey a route for the canal. Begun in 1836, the canal's construction fundamentally shifted Chicago's landscape and demographics. This new project, called the Illinois and Michigan Canal, brought Irish immigrants to the Chicago area in large numbers before the city was even officially incorporated.
They were working in awful conditions. A lot of them got sick. They were here during several waves of disease. So they are kind of at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, insofar as there was one in Chicago in that period.
But after the canal's completion in 1848, the Irish American population grew and gained a higher social standing as a result. Chicago had 4 Irish-born bishops in the late 1800s, and Irish Americans have often been elected to the mayor's office. And starting in the second half of the 19th century, the Irish weren't the only immigrant group leaving their mark on the city.
Well, the Irish were the pathbreakers, and followed rapidly by Germans and Scandinavians. And partly because of the success of some of those people in finding work in Chicago, and partly because of just of the growth of Chicago, their jobs. The movement of the Irish becomes the movement, the pattern for lots of other groups later on.